That brings us to page 44, chapter 6, exercise 6.2. Do we need to go over any of them? Do you want me to lead you through any of them, or did you have any problems at all?
When we come to a code like that, we code both codes.
You code both codes. You want to look at a couple of them? Let's see. All right, let's do the diabetic retinitis since it's so close to the diabetic cataract. All right, what is the condition that the patient has right now? Has diabetes, so we could go it that way. They also have retinitis, don't they? All right, so we could get to this code either way. I'm going to go to retinitis because that is the actual manifestation, what they have right this minute. I mean, yes, they have the diabetes too. So if I go to retinitis, I'm looking for diabetic retinitis. And when I get there, I find that there's a code of 250.5. Interesting. Same one we looked up a few minutes ago. Is retinitis dealing with ophthalmic? Yeah. So there's your 250.5. And then I have a 362.01. Well, I'm not through until I have looked up both of those codes. So I jot them down as tentative codes. And now I go to 250.5, which I was just there. And 250.5 tells me that I have got to use an additional code to identify the manifestation, such as a diabetic retinopathy. Is retinitis a retinopathy? Well, yeah. And so that gives me a series of codes. Was my code 1 in those series? Yeah. Now I've got to check the 362.01, don't I? So when I go to 362.01, tells me to code the diabetes first, and it indicates a background diabetic retinopathy. And is mine a diabetic retinopathy? Yes, it is. So there I've got my 362.01 and my 250.50. Now, how did I know that the diabetes had to be coded first? Told me that, but what else? By looking at it. You cannot put the code in square brackets as a principal diagnosis code. You just can't do it. All right, chondrocalcinosis of the shoulder region. All right, what does chondro mean? Cartilage. And what does calcino mean? Calcified. So we've got a condition of having a cartilage becoming calcified in the shoulder region, and it's due to calcium pyrophosphate. Well, gosh, that makes sense, doesn't it? We've had calcium collecting in the shoulder. All right, so what's the name of the condition affecting our patient? Chondrocalcinosis. And when we go there, we know that ours is due to calcium pyrophosphate. Do we have a specific subterm for calcium pyrophosphate? Yes. And are there some square brackets there? And what do we know has got to be the first code? Which is 275.49, isn't it? And the secondary code is our 712.2. Are we finished? Nope, got to check it in the tabular. So I go to the 275.49. And 275.49 tells us another disorder of calcium metabolism. Ooh, wait a minute. It doesn't actually list this, does it? Oh, what do I do? Well, 275 is disorders of calcium metabolism. And 275 is disorders of mineral metabolism. Well, we know that calcium is a mineral, so as we read this, are we beginning to realize that this patient probably has this collection of calcium in his cartilage because his body is not doing something with the calcium that should be? Is that calcium metabolism? Are you thinking through that based on your body of knowledge that you've got? Yes, that is correct, 275.49. It is a disorder of calcium metabolism. Now, if you were not absolutely sure, you would go to the dictionary and you would look up chondrocalcinosis, or you'd go to one of your other reference books and find out what that disease was, and then you would realize it's due to calcium metabolism problems, and then you'd feel better about it. So that was an example of classifying rather than coding. All right, we have another code to check, and that's the 712.2. At this moment, when we just looked it up, that's what we saw was 712.2. We know there's another answer because our book has the answers. So where do we pick up the fifth digit? Because we look at 712 and immediately we see a box that tells us we've got to have fifth digits. 712.2 is chondrocalcinosis due to pyrophosphate crystals. Oh, well now that really is, that's a lot clearer there, isn't it?
Yeah.
And